Hey there, and welcome back to Pillow Talk Theories, where we discuss theories, myths, and rumors about many different topics designed to help you sleep at night. If you like this video, consider subscribing to our channel and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Imagine, if you will, a quiet desert night. The stars above stretch endlessly, each one sharp and brilliant against a velvet black sky. The air is dry, still, and heavy with silence, broken only by the occasional rustle of a breeze across the sand. In the distance, mountains loom like ancient sentinels, dark silhouettes guarding the secrets of the Nevada desert. And then, in that stillness, a light. Not a star, not a plane, but something stranger. It hovers, it shifts, it disappears. This is the landscape where legends are born. This is where humanity's most daring machines first touched the edge of the impossible. And it is where some believe that we reached beyond our own planet and touched something not of this earth. Welcome to Area 51. The most secretive place on Earth, a patch of desert that has inspired decades of rumors, theories, fears, and dreams. Tonight we'll take a journey through its history, its mysteries, and its myths. So settle in. Imagine yourself lying under that desert sky, the sand cool beneath you, the air vast and endless. We're going to tell the story of Area 51, the way one tells an old legend by a campfire, calmly, carefully, and with the kind of wonder that lets your mind drift between fact and possibility. The desert's secret birth, 1940s, 1950s. The story of Area 51 begins not with flying saucers, not even with aliens, but with a world gripped by war and fear. It was the 1940s. The Second World War had ended, but a new, colder war was just beginning. The United States and the Soviet Union stared at each other across oceans, each desperate to know what the other was planning. Every scrap of intelligence was gold, every secret weapon mattered, and in this climate of tension and fear, rumors began to swirl. The Roswell incident, 1947. A rancher near Roswell, New Mexico, stumbled upon strange debris scattered across his land. Shiny metal, unusual shapes, fragments that didn't quite match anything ordinary. The army came quickly. They collected the debris, announced to the press that they had recovered a flying disc, and then just as quickly retracted the statement. No, they said, it was only a weather balloon. But the damage was done. The word disc had lit a fire. Newspapers screamed of flying saucers. The public imagination raced. Had something from the stars truly crashed to Earth? Decades later, the Air Force revealed the debris had come from Project Mogul, a top-secret program using balloons to detect Soviet nuclear tests. But by then, the Roswell story had taken on a life of its own. Many came to believe that alien craft and even alien bodies had been recovered. And where did those bodies go? Where were the wreckage and secrets hidden? For some, the answer was Groom Lake, the site that would soon become Area 51. The Nevada desert and Groom Lake. Now picture the desert north of Las Vegas. Dry, flat, a perfect natural runway. In the middle lies a dry lakebed called Groom Lake. During World War II, the site had been used for bombing practice, then abandoned. In 1955, the CIA needed a new testing ground for its most ambitious project yet, the U-2 spy plane. This aircraft was designed to soar higher than any other, far above Soviet defenses, taking photographs of secret bases and missile sites. Lockheed's legendary Skunk Works, led by engineer Clarence Kelly Johnson, found Groom Lake to be perfect, remote, isolated, surrounded by mountains that would shield prying eyes. And so quietly, secretly, the site was reborn. Barbed wire went up. Guards arrived. The airspace above was restricted. The mapmakers left it blank. It was given many names: Groom Lake, Watertown, Dreamland. But the one that stuck was Area 51. Early UFO sightings. Not long after the U-2 took to the skies in 1955, people began reporting strange lights. Commercial airline pilots crossing the Nevada desert would glance out their windows and see silver streaks flying higher than any known aircraft. Civilians on lonely desert highways would spot glowing objects that seemed to hover where no plane should be. The truth was simple. The U-2 flew at altitudes no one had seen before, sometimes catching the sun in ways that made it glow. But the government couldn't explain. To admit what the lights were would reveal secrets to the Soviets. And so silence fell. Into that silence rushed imagination. The sightings were written down as flying saucers. Newspapers spread the stories. UFO clubs grew in popularity. Thus, almost from the very moment Area 51 was born, it was tied to the world of the unexplained. The culture of secrecy. Imagine working at Area 51 in those early days. You arrive by unmarked plane from Las Vegas, a shuttle known only as Janet Airlines. You pass signs warning you not to take photos, not to speak, not to even tell your family where you work. Everything is compartmentalized. Engineers know only the piece of the puzzle they're working on. Security is tight, constant. The desert itself becomes part of the defense, endless miles of nothingness, keeping the world away. And above all, you live with silence. Every night people outside see lights in the sky and whisper of UFOs, while you know the truth, but cannot say it. The seeds of mystery were planted, and like desert cacti, they would grow slowly, quietly, until their thorns stretched into legend. So here in the 1940s and 1950s, the stage is set. Roswell sparks whispers of aliens. The Nevada desert gives birth to Area 51. The U-2 climbs high, mistaken for UFOs, and a culture of secrecy ensures the rumors cannot be silenced. The desert, once just empty land, is now alive with hidden machines and stranger stories. And as the Cold War deepens, the experiments at Groom Lake will only grow stranger, and the lights in the sky more mysterious. Cold War skies, 1960s, 1970s. The 1960s dawned with the Cold War burning hotter than ever. The United States and the Soviet Union watched each other with unblinking eyes, each afraid that the other might strike first with nuclear fire. In this shadow war, knowledge was power. Whoever could see farther, higher and clearer, whoever could spy more effectively, might just survive. And in the barren desert north of Las Vegas, Area 51 became the forge where these new eyes of the sky were crafted. From U-2 to A-12, a leap into shadows. The U-2 had been a triumph, but by 1960, it was already in danger. Soviet radar had improved, anti-aircraft missiles had been deployed, and on May 1, 1960, a U-2 flown by Francis Gary Powers was shot down over Russia. The incident embarrassed Washington and made it clear America needed a new spy plane, one the Soviets couldn't touch. That challenge was handed to Lockheed's Skunk Works, the secretive workshop of Clarence Kelly Johnson. And where would this miracle machine be tested? Nowhere else but Groom Lake. The result was the A-12 Oxcart, a sleek, needle-nosed aircraft that looked like something out of science fiction. Built of titanium, painted black, and shaped to slip through radar, the A-12 could cruise at speeds over Mach 3, 3 times the speed of sound, at altitudes above 80,000 feet. To the handful of men who saw it, streaking across the desert sky like a black arrow, it looked less like a plane and more like an alien craft. It reflected the sun in strange ways. Its sonic booms echoed through the mountains, and it flew higher than anything the public could imagine. In the eyes of many Americans on the ground, this was no human invention. Surely, they thought, this had to be something from beyond Earth. The A-12 was eventually joined by its sibling, the SR-71 Blackbird, perhaps the most famous spy plane ever built. With its knife-edge wings and glowing afterburners, the Blackbird became a legend. From 1964 onward, Groom Lake skies echoed with the thunder of its engines. Crews flew missions that brushed the edge of space, racing over continents faster than missiles could catch. Yet, for those who caught only glimpses from the desert below, the Blackbird was a mystery. Sometimes it glowed with fire, sometimes it vanished into the night sky like a shooting star. And the government, bound by secrecy, said nothing. Each time a pilot, a farmer, or a truck driver reported a strange object in the Nevada sky, it was quietly logged as a UFO. Officially, no one admitted that America had machines that could fly faster than a bullet and higher than mountains. This silence, born of national security, only deepened the myths. Says Mike, the birth of modern UFO culture. The 1960s weren't just the age of spy planes, they were also the age of UFOs. Across the United States, reports poured in, lights dancing in formation, discs hovering silently, glowing shapes darting across the heavens. Newspapers ran the stories. Hollywood turned them into movies, and amateur investigators began to connect the dots. Where were so many of these sightings clustered? Over Nevada, over Groom Lake. By the late 1960s, the link between UFOs and Area 51 had been planted in the public imagination. For every pilot who saw a Blackbird, there was a civilian who swore they had glimpsed something extraterrestrial. The CIA quietly admitted decades later that over half of all UFO sightings in the 1960s were actually misidentified test flights of the U-2 and SR-71. But at the time, that truth was locked away. And so the idea grew. Area 51 wasn't just a testing ground for planes. It was where the government hid alien craft. Groom Lake in the moonlight. Let's pause and imagine. It's the late 19th, a warm Nevada night. You're driving a lonely desert highway under a silver moon. The radio hums with static. Out of the corner of your eye, you see a light streak across the sky, faster than anything you've ever seen. It curves upward, impossibly sharp, then vanishes into the blackness. You pull over, heart racing. You stare up at the stars, and in that silence, your mind whispers, "What did I just see?" For some, the answer was a secret aircraft. For others, it was something stranger, a visitor from beyond. And because the government said nothing, not a word, not a hint, the mystery remained alive. Projects in the shadows. Beyond the A-12 and Blackbird, Groom Lake tested other experimental projects in the 1960s and 70s. Some were confirmed decades later. Others remain rumors. Day 21 drone. An unmanned, ramjet-powered spy drone that flew at extreme altitudes. Tested at Groom Lake, it often broke apart or crashed, fueling more mystery aircraft stories. Have Blue program. The early beginnings of stealth technology. Shaped oddly, like a flying wedge, it was said to appear on radar as no more than a small bird. Though still secret in the 1970s, later it would lead to the F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter. Captured aircraft. Some whisper that during the Vietnam War, captured Soviet MiGs were secretly flown at Groom Lake to train American pilots. Imagine the sight, foreign planes slicing across Nevada skies, creating confusion among anyone watching from afar. Each project added new fuel to the UFO fire. Strange shapes, new flight patterns, unexplained booms. And through it all, Groom Lake stayed silent. By the end of the 1970s, Area 51 was more than just a base. It was a riddle, a story whispered in roadside diners, in letters to newspapers, in late-night radio broadcasts. Something's flying out there, people said, something the government doesn't want us to know. And whether those somethings were titanium spy planes or alien craft, the legend grew. So the Cold War years left their mark. The skies above Groom Lake were alive with machines that looked like dreams. Civilians saw them and believed in sources. The government stayed silent, and silence is the soil where legends grow. In the stillness of the Nevada desert, UFOs had become a permanent part of Area 51's story. And as the years passed, the myths would only deepen. The 1980s would bring stealth, secrecy, and perhaps most important of all, the man who would ignite Area 51's greatest firestorm, Bob Lazar. Same while as another desert night falls over Groom Lake, the legend of Area 51 grows louder in whispers, but quieter in truth. The machines vanish into hangars, the lights fade from the sky, and yet the mystery only deepens. Stealth shadows 1970s, 1980s, sand drifts softly across empty plains, mountains rise like silent guards. The night is deep, the stars brilliant, and the wind whispers secrets older than any of us. Into this quiet, strange shapes began to appear. Not the round discs of early UFO lore, but angular, sharp-edged craft that seemed almost unreal in their precision. The era of stealth had arrived. Bender A-117 Nighthawk, ghost in the desert. In the late 1970s, a new project was underway. Known secretly as Have Blue, it was designed to do something the world had never seen before, to vanish from radar entirely. The engineers at Lockheed's Skunk Works shaped their new aircraft in a series of sharp angles and flat surfaces, creating a silhouette unlike any conventional plane. Painted black to melt into the night, the aircraft seemed to appear from nowhere and disappear again. By 1981, the F-117 Nighthawk was operational. Its first flights over Groom Lake were completely classified. Only a handful of pilots and engineers knew of its existence. To any casual observer, what they saw in the sky was impossible. A silent, sharp-edged triangle gliding across the stars. And those who watched from the highways below? They saw ghosts. They saw UFOs. The F-117 would later play a crucial role in conflicts overseas, but at Area 51, it became a legend long before the public knew its name. The desert skies were alive with whispers and rumors, and secrecy only made the aircraft more mysterious. Black triangles and the birth of modern UFOs. By the early 1980s, reports began to shift. Witnesses across Nevada, Arizona, and even Europe began describing triangular UFOs. They hovered silently, moved with impossible agility, and often glowed with a soft white light at each corner. Some called them black triangles, others simply unknown craft. Skeptics suggested the sightings were misidentified FR-117s or other experimental aircraft, but the timing seemed too perfect. Whenever an FR-117 test flight was underway, reports of mysterious triangles increased. For the public, the pattern was irresistible. Something strange was happening in the desert skies, and the government refused to explain. Area 51 became the invisible epicenter of all of it. The culture at Area 51 during the stealth era was unlike anything else on Earth. Employees arrived on small charter planes, the Janet flights carrying briefcases, identification and secrets heavier than any suitcase. Cameras were forbidden, questions were forbidden, conversations about the projects were tightly compartmentalized. Even pilots often knew only the parts of the mission they needed to know. Each layer of secrecy was a shadow, and shadows breed stories. It's no wonder that rumors grew. If an engineer could see a new plane and tell no one, if a test pilot could only whisper to himself about a glowing triangle, then the imagination filled in the gaps. UFOs or experimental aircraft. By now the lines between truth and legend were blurred. The F-117 flew, the Blackbird had flown, and yet lights and shapes continued to appear over the desert. Some were classified stealth aircraft, and some, no one could explain. The mixture of technology and secrecy created the perfect storm for UFO folklore. Reporters, Investigators and late-night radio hosts began telling stories of alien craft, and while the government remained silent, the public narrative had already taken shape. Area 51 is where the impossible becomes real. Alongside the F-117, other experimental aircraft may have been tested at Groom Lake. Early TR-3A Black Manta rumors. Some claimed a triangular stealthy craft was flown in secret, its anti-radar design inspiring reports of alien-like movement. While unconfirmed, these stories added fuel to the imagination. Pulse detonation engines and hypersonic tests. The 1980s were a time of extreme experimentation. Some unusual contrails and sonic booms recorded in Nevada hint at tests of engines capable of speeds beyond Mach 5. Captured foreign aircraft. During the Cold War, captured MiGs may have been studied at Groom Lake, creating new unfamiliar shapes in the sky. Each sighting, each mysterious flight, was a spark, and the legend grew. The desert as witness. Picture a calm night in the 1980s. You're alone on a desert road. Above, a triangle glides silently, lights glowing softly. The wind carries the scent of dust and sage. Your pulse quickens, but you cannot look away. And then it is gone, vanished into the darkness. Was it a stealth plane? Perhaps. Was it something more? That is a question the desert keeps to itself. The silence of Groom Lake allows the imagination to fill in the blanks. The F-1117 and its shadowy companions may have been human inventions, but in the minds of observers, they became something else entirely, proof that humans could touch the edge of the impossible, or that something else might already be there. By the end of the 1980s, Area 51 had become more than a military base. It was a symbol, a place where technology moves faster than the eye can follow, a place where the sky hides secrets, a place where reality and imagination collide in the quiet desert night. And as one decade ends and another begins, a new figure would emerge, a man who would ignite the fire of alien conspiracy in the public imagination. Bob Lazar. His story would bring forward whispers of Element 115, alien craft and reverse engineering, linking Area 51 forever with the unknown. As the desert night stretches on, the glowing triangles fade from view, the mountains remain still, and the air hums with secrets too heavy to be spoken. But the legend has grown, and it is only beginning. Lazar and the Alien Spark, 1989. The desert had been quiet for decades. The blackbird had flown. The nighthawk had glided silently through the night. And yet the air remained thick with curiosity, with speculation, with unanswered questions. Then, in 1989, a man stepped forward and lit a fire that would burn brighter than any experimental aircraft ever could. His name, Bob Lazar. Lazar claimed to have been hired to work at a site near Area 51, known as S4, a hidden facility tucked into the side of a mountain just south of Groom Lake. Unlike Area 51 itself, S4 was largely underground, a labyrinth of hangars and tunnels, filled with mysterious craft and technology unlike anything on Earth. Lazar said that during his time there, he worked on what he described as extraterrestrial spacecraft. He claimed that the government had recovered 9 alien craft and was attempting to reverse engineer them. To anyone outside the world of secrecy, his story sounded impossible. And yet when Lazar appeared on Las Vegas television that year, the world leaned in, listening. The craft of S4. According to Lazar, the ships at S4 were small, metallic, and disc-shaped, the classic flying saucer we had all imagined. But there was something more. Their propulsion systems were beyond human understanding. He described a gravity propulsion system powered by a then unknown element. Element 115, a substance that generated a gravitational field, allowing the craft to manipulate space-time itself. To Lazar, this technology explained many of the UFO sightings over Nevada. The sudden stops, impossible maneuvers, and rapid accelerations that defied physics. For skeptics, it was science fiction. For believers, it was proof that Area 51 held secrets humanity could barely comprehend. 5 verkauzeld vermeldje. 5 verkrust Christianio 5 virgulbij de Naudiske May de law. The sad story ignited controversy. Some dismissed him as a fabricator, pointing out inconsistencies in his education and employment records. Others were fascinated, drawn to the idea that our government had recovered alien technology and hid it deep in the desert. The media reported cautiously, often sensationalizing the more extraordinary elements. Regardless of the truth, Lazar had done something profound. He cemented the association between Area 51 and extraterrestrial craft in the public imagination. Element 115 and science. Years later, in 2003, scientists synthesized moscovium, an element with atomic number 115. It is highly unstable and decays almost instantly. While it could not power alien spacecraft as Lazar claimed, the coincidence of the atomic number intrigued UFO enthusiasts. This discovery added another layer of intrigue to Lazar's story. Even if some details were incorrect, there might be a kernel of truth buried in the desert sands. How Lazar changed Area 51's image. Before Lazar, Area 51 was a secretive military testing ground, fascinating to a few, known mostly to aviation enthusiasts. After Lazar, it became the epicenter of UFO lore. The public imagined alien spacecraft hidden in hangars. Black triangles and glowing disks were no longer experimental aircraft, but potentially extraterrestrial technology. Area 51 became synonymous with secrecy and the unknown, a place where impossible things could exist. Even decades later, every new sighting of a strange craft in the Nevada desert is often linked back to Lazar's claims. Desert nights and speculation. Imagine standing on a lonely Nevada highway, night air cool and still, watching a glowing disk glide silently across the sky. Perhaps it is a test of the F-117. Perhaps it is something more. In the quiet, your mind drifts. The desert whispers. What if he was right? What if they really did recover alien craft? What secrets lie hidden beneath the mountains of Groom Lake? Lazar's story reminds us that mysteries often persist because we cannot see the full picture. The desert hides its treasures, and perhaps it is meant to. Bob Lazar did not just tell a story, he reshaped a legend. He gave a name to the unknown, S4. He gave a theory to the sightings, gravity-powered craft. He gave the world a reason to look up at the Nevada sky with wonder and suspicion. Area 51 had always been secret, but after Lazar, it became almost mythical, a crossroads of human technology, imagination, and the possibility of life beyond Earth. And so, as the 1980s drew to a close, the desert remained quiet, the lights still flickered in the distance, and a new era of speculation began, one that would carry into the 1990s with tales of hypersonic jets, alien autopsies, and the ever-present black triangles. And in the calm of the night, beneath the infinite stars, we leave Lazar's story whispering in the desert winds. Secrets and possibilities swirl together, as the legend of Area 51 grows ever larger, ever stranger, ever more captivating. Aurora and black triangles, 1990s arrived with a new kind of tension. The Cold War had ended, but a quieter race was underway. This time, it wasn't just spies and missiles, it was speed, stealth, and secrecy pushed to extremes. And above the Nevada desert, strange things continued to appear, their movements more baffling than ever. Sailor, the hypersonic dream, Aurora. Somewhere, deep in the restricted airspace over Nevada, a rumor began to spread, whispered among aviation enthusiasts, leaked through budget reports, and speculated on by those who had glimpsed the impossible. It was called Aurora. No one could say for certain if Aurora existed. No official documents confirmed it. Yet the pieces of the puzzle were tantalizing. Donuts on a rope contrails were spotted in California and Nevada, unusual circular vapor trails in linear patterns. Sonic booms ripped across the desert, but no aircraft could be identified. Budget line items in Pentagon reports hinted at billions spent on a classified hypersonic program. Some theorists believed that Aurora was a Mach 5 or higher reconnaissance aircraft, capable of speeds beyond anything publicly known. To ordinary eyes, its flight would be impossible. Sudden stops, near-instant accelerations, vanishing into the horizon. And for those watching the skies late at night, it seemed almost alien. The black triangles return. The 1990s also saw an explosion in reports of black triangular UFOs. Witnesses described massive, silent triangles hovering over highways, deserts, and cities. Each corner glowed faintly, as if lit from within. They moved in ways that defied the physics known to humans. Some suggested these were TR-3A Black Manta aircraft, rumored stealth planes with triangular designs, perhaps successors to the F-117. Others suspected TR-3B craft, whispered in conspiracy circles to be anti-gravity vehicles derived from alien technology. The truth remains elusive. Some triangles may have been experimental craft from Area 51. Some may have been drones. And some, perhaps in the minds of observers, were something else entirely. Alien autopsies and pop culture. The 1990s were also the era when Area 51 entered mainstream imagination as the epicenter of extraterrestrial secrets. In 1995, footage of an alien autopsy surfaced, claiming to show scientists dissecting an alien body recovered from Roswell and transported to Area 51. Though later exposed as a hoax, it captivated millions. At the same time, movies and television shows fueled the legend. Independence Day 1996 depicted Area 51 as the home of alien spacecraft and government cover-ups. The X-Files made the desert base a recurring symbol of government secrecy and extraterrestrial contact. By now, Area 51 was no longer just a secret military base. It had become a cultural icon, a place where science, speculation, and imagination collided under the endless Nevada sky, testing the edge of reality. The 1990s were not just about aliens in popular culture. The government was still testing aircraft, drones, and propulsion systems. Stealth UAVs began to appear, their small size and quiet engines adding to sightings of unexplained lights. Captured or modified Soviet aircraft may have been flown in secret, confusing observers with their unfamiliar shapes and flight patterns. Hypersonic tests likely created contrails and sonic booms that ordinary citizens could not explain. Each new experiment became a spark for legend, a new layer of mystery over Groom Lake. Desert nights and imagination. Imagine, once again, a quiet night in the desert. You are driving a lonely road, the air crisp, the stars bright. Above you, a vast black triangle hovers silently. Its corners glow faintly. It drifts for a moment, then accelerates beyond belief, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Your heart races. Your mind struggles to reconcile what you saw with what you know. Was it Aurora, a TR-3A, a drone, or was it something else? The desert does not answer. It only whispers, carrying the mysteries across the sand and into the night. By the end of the 1990s, Area 51 had become a nexus, the birthplace of hypersonic rumors, the stage for black triangles and unexplainable sightings, the symbol of the intersection between secrecy, technology, and imagination. It was here that the myths grew most vivid, where whispers became legend, and where the line between science and speculation blurred under the desert stars. As the 21st century approached, new programs would emerge, new UFO disclosures would surface, and the mystery of Area 51 would continue to evolve. And so, as the desert night stretches over Groom Lake, black triangles glide silently across the sky. The wind hums through the mountains, carrying stories of speed, secrecy, and the unknown. The legend grows, inviting us to watch, to wonder, and to dream. The 2000s, reality creeps in. The desert has always been a quiet witness, but as the 21st century arrived, whispers of activity grew louder. The world had changed. The Cold War had ended, but a new kind of vigilance took its place. Global conflicts, high-tech surveillance, and the growing presence of drones redefined the sky. And above Nevada, Area 51 continued its work, hidden behind mountains, fences, and secrecy that seemed almost eternal. In the early 2000s, the United States Air Force began testing a new, stealthy drone, the RQ-170 Sentinel, nicknamed the Beast of Kandahar after it was spotted over Afghanistan. This unmanned aircraft was small, smooth, and completely black, designed for reconnaissance missions in hostile territories. It was nearly silent, nearly invisible, and capable of operations that would have seemed impossible just decades before. According to sightings and leaked reports, the RQ-170 first flew over Groom Lake for testing. To the casual observer on the ground, it was a dark, silent object drifting over the desert, yet another addition to the ever-growing catalogue of mysterious lights. Its existence remained classified for several years, until a few images and reports eventually surfaced, confirming what many had long suspected: Area 51 wasn't just about manned aircraft. Unmanned, nearly invisible craft were now part of the landscape. Pentagon UFO programs. In 2007, an even greater revelation began to emerge. The Pentagon quietly acknowledged the existence of a program known as AATP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Its purpose, to investigate unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, the modern term for UFOs. Though AATP was not directly tied to Area 51, many speculated that sightings investigated by the program were related to experiments in the Nevada desert. Videos of strange maneuvering craft were released to the public, showing objects that seemed to defy the laws of physics: instantaneous acceleration, sharp 90-degree turns, hovering without visible propulsion. To the casual observer, these objects resembled the very craft described by Lazar years earlier, or the black triangles that had haunted the desert skies. The 2000s marked a shift. Some mysteries were real and documented, some were still secrets, and the boundary between imagination and reality grew thinner. UFO sightings and drones. With the proliferation of drones, GPS, and night vision technology, sightings over Nevada continued to increase. Some were clearly modern technology: RQ-170s, stealth drones, and experimental UAVs. Yet, some sightings remained unexplained: lights moving faster than any known aircraft, objects hovering in impossible silence, triangles, disks, and orbs that seemed to vanish without a trace. For many, this suggested that while the government had begun to reveal some of its secrets, other projects remained hidden, teasing the public with glimpses of the unknown. Secrecy and public curiosity. By this decade, the image of Area 51 had evolved. Tourism increased. People drove to the edges of the Nevada desert, hoping for a glimpse of lights over Groom Lake. Media fascination. Shows like Ancient Aliens and late-night documentaries explored laser, TR-3Bs, and UFOs. Government acknowledgement. The CIA declassified historical documents, confirming the existence of U-2 and Blackbird testing, but revealing little about modern projects. Secrecy had shifted. It was no longer complete isolation. It was a carefully managed reveal, teasing enough truth to make the imagination run wild. Desert nights and possibilities. Picture the Nevada desert at night. The air is cool. Stars stretch endlessly overhead. Somewhere, a black drone glides silently across the horizon. A light streaks upward. You wonder, is it a drone, an experimental aircraft, or something more? The desert allows all possibilities. It holds its secrets close, whispering to those willing to watch, listen, and imagine. The 2000s were a turning point. Technology advanced faster than ever. Some UFO sightings were revealed as secret aircraft, others remained unexplained. Area 51 had moved from legend to partial revelation. The desert held both fact and fiction, and the line between them became part of the story itself. The secrets of the skies were no longer entirely hidden, yet they were far from fully known. And as the world turned toward the 2010s, the stage was set for disclosure, pop culture events, and the next chapter of the legend. And so, under the still Nevada sky, the Sentinel drifts silently across the stars. Lights flicker in the distance, the mountains stand patient, and the legend of Area 51 continues, waiting, watching, whispering its secrets to those who will look and dream. Disclosure and storming the gates. 2010s. The desert had long been a place of silence. Mountains stood as quiet sentinels, wind carried secrets, and stars watched over the hidden machines below. But by the 2010s, the world was changing. Information flowed faster than ever. Cameras were everywhere, and curiosity about Area 51 reached a fever pitch. The era of partial disclosure had begun. CIA acknowledgement. In 2013, the Central Intelligence Agency did something unprecedented. It officially acknowledged the existence of Area 51. The acknowledgement confirmed what many had long suspected. Yes, there was a secret base at Groom Lake. The documents released were primarily historical, focusing on U-2 and A-12 spy plane testing during the Cold War. Modern projects remained hidden, but the release gave legitimacy to decades of speculation. For the public, the acknowledgement was electrifying. Area 51 was no longer just a whispered rumor. It was real, tangible, and deeply secretive, a real place where unseen things happened, shielded by fences, mountains, and law. Pentagon UAP programs. At the same time, attention shifted to unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, the modern term for UFOs. The Pentagon quietly ran programs such as AATAP to investigate these sightings. Videos surfaced showing objects moving in ways that defied physics, instant accelerations, sudden stops, and rotations that no conventional aircraft could manage. While the government avoided connecting these directly to Area 51, public speculation surged. Area 51, long imagined as a home for alien craft and reverse-engineered technology, became the natural focus of these sightings in the public imagination. Pop culture meets reality. Around the same time, Area 51's legend merged with the internet. Memes, videos, and viral posts turned the secret base into a global phenomenon. Then, in 2019, something extraordinary happened: the Storm Area 51 event. Initially a joke on Facebook, it invited people to storm the base to see aliens. Millions responded online, sharing memes, planning to attend, and imagining what might lie behind the gates. Though only a few thousand actually appeared in the area, the event drew worldwide media attention. This movement cemented Area 51 as a symbol of mystery and rebellion, a place where curiosity meets the impossible, and where imagination collides with the unknown. Sightings and experiments. Despite all the attention, Area 51 continued its work in secrecy. Black projects likely continued, including experimental drones and next-generation aircraft. Hypersonic tests and stealth UAVs likely contributed to unexplained sightings. To the casual observer, the desert skies remained mysterious, full of unexplained lights and craft moving in ways that challenged explanation. The combination of disclosure and secrecy created a paradox. The government admitted enough to make the public wonder, but not enough to satisfy curiosity. The legend persists. By the late 2010s, Area 51 had fully entered the global consciousness. It was no longer just a secret military base. It was a cultural icon, appearing in movies, shows, games, and memes. It represented a place where the impossible might exist, where humans flirted with the unknown, and where secrets still waited in the dark. The Storm Area 51 event was a reminder that millions wanted to peek behind the curtain, to glimpse what the desert hides, and though the gates remained closed, the legend only grew stronger. Desert nights and dreams. Imagine the desert tonight. The wind is soft, stars glimmer across an endless black sky. In the distance, a faint light flickers across Groom Lake, moving with precision and silence. Your heart races, your mind wanders. You wonder, is it a drone, an experimental aircraft, or perhaps something else? The desert offers no answers, only possibilities, and that is the beauty of Area 51. It is a place where imagination takes flight as easily as any craft in the sky. The 2010s marked a new era, acknowledgement without revelation, viral curiosity and global fascination, continued mystery of lights, craft, and unexplained phenomena. Area 51 had become more than a base. It had become a story, an ongoing tale told in whispers, videos, memes, and sightings. It is a place where reality brushes up against imagination, and where the line between the two is blurred by desert nights and the human desire to wonder. And so, as night falls over Groom Lake, the mountains stand patient, The wind carries its secrets, and the lights continue to dance across the horizon. Area 51 watches silently, keeping its stories close, inviting the dreamers, the curious and the brave to imagine what lies beyond. Disclosure and storming the gates. 2010s. The desert had long been a place of silence. Mountains stood as quiet sentinels, wind carried secrets, and stars watched over the hidden machines below. But by the 2010s, the world was changing. Information flowed faster than ever, cameras were everywhere, and curiosity about Area 51 reached a fever pitch. The era of partial disclosure had begun. CIA acknowledgement. In 2013, the Central Intelligence Agency did something unprecedented. It officially acknowledged the existence of Area 51. The acknowledgement confirmed what many had long suspected. Yes, there was a secret base at Groom Lake. The documents released were primarily historical, focusing on U-2 and A-12 spy plane testing during the Cold War. Modern projects remained hidden, but the release gave legitimacy to decades of speculation. For the public, the acknowledgement was electrifying. Area 51 was no longer just a whispered rumor. It was real, tangible, and deeply secretive, a real place where unseen things happened, shielded by fences, mountains, and law. Pentagon, UAP programs. At the same time, attention shifted to unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, the modern term for UFOs. Videos surfaced showing objects moving in ways that defied physics, instant accelerations, sudden stops, and rotations that no conventional aircraft could manage. While the government avoided connecting these directly to Area 51, public speculation surged. Area 51, long imagined as a home for alien craft and reverse-engineered technology, became the natural focus of these sightings in the public imagination. Pop culture meets reality. Around the same time, Area 51's legend merged with the internet. Memes, videos, and viral posts turned the secret base into a global phenomenon. Then in 2019, something extraordinary happened, the Storm Area 51 event. Initially a joke on Facebook, it invited people to storm the base to see aliens. Millions responded online, sharing memes, planning to attend, and imagining what might lie behind the gates. Though only a few thousand actually appeared in the area, the event drew worldwide media attention. This movement cemented Area 51 as a symbol of mystery and rebellion, a place where curiosity meets the impossible and where imagination collides with the unknown. Sightings and experiments. Despite all the attention, Area 51 continued its work in secrecy. Black projects likely continued, including experimental drones and next-generation aircraft. Hypersonic tests and stealth UAVs likely contributed to unexplained sightings. To the casual observer, the desert skies remained mysterious, full of unexplained lights and craft moving in ways that challenged explanation. The combination of disclosure and secrecy created a paradox. The government admitted enough to make the public wonder, but not enough to satisfy curiosity. The legend persists. By the late 2010s, Area 51 had fully entered the global consciousness. What was no longer just a secret military base, it was a cultural icon. Appearing in movies, shows, games, and memes, it represented a place where the impossible might exist, where humans flirted with the unknown, and where secrets still waited in the dark. The Storm Area 51 event was a reminder that millions wanted to peek behind the curtain, to glimpse what the desert hides. And though the gates remained closed, the legend only grew stronger. Desert nights and dreams. Imagine the desert tonight. The wind is soft, stars glimmer across an endless black sky. In the distance, a faint light flickers across Groom Lake, moving with precision and silence. Your heart races. Your mind wanders. You wonder, is it a drone, an experimental aircraft, or perhaps something else? The desert offers no answers, only possibilities. And that is the beauty of Area 51. It is a place where imagination takes flight as easily as any craft in the sky. The 2010s marked a new era. Acknowledgement without revelation, viral curiosity and global fascination, continued mystery of lights, craft, and unexplained phenomena. Area 51 had become more than a base. It had become a story, an ongoing tale told in whispers, videos, memes, and sightings. It is a place where reality brushes up against imagination, and where the line between the two is blurred by desert nights and the human desire to wonder. And so, as night falls over Groom Lake, the mountains stand patient, the wind carries its secrets, and the lights continue to dance across the horizon. Area 51 watches silently, keeping its stories close, inviting the dreamers, the curious, and the brave to imagine what lies beyond. Theories, myths, and possibilities. The desert is silent, but in the minds of humanity, it is alive with possibilities. Area 51 is more than a secret military base. It is a mirror for our imagination, a place where the impossible seems plausible, and where the line between science, rumor, and fantasy blurs beneath the Nevada stars. Tonight, let us wander through these legends slowly, as if whispered by the desert wind itself. Alien technology. Perhaps the most enduring theory is simple in its wonder. Area 51 houses alien craft, Inspired by Bob Lazar's claims, some believe that the government recovered extraterrestrial spacecraft, including saucer-shaped vehicles from Roswell and other alleged crashes. These craft, hidden in S4 or deep hangars, are said to be reverse-engineered for propulsion, energy systems, and stealth. Witnesses describe lights, shapes, and maneuvers that appear beyond human engineering, fueling speculation that alien technology is tested in secret. For some, this is the ultimate mystery, that humans may have touched something not of this earth, and that the desert keeps its secrets beneath the mountains. Black triangles and stealth aircraft. Not all mysteries are extraterrestrial. Many sightings of triangles and unusual craft could be explained by experimental human aircraft. Plakenrauen, F-107 Nighthawk, and B-2 Spirit stealth aircraft demonstrated angular silent flight that looks alien from the ground. Rumored TR-3A, TR-3B, Black Manta craft are said to be triangular, stealthy vehicles possibly using exotic propulsion, anti-gravity or electromagnetic systems. Hypersonic and unmanned drones, like the RQ-170 Sentinel, blur the line between ordinary aircraft and what the public perceives as UFOs. To the observer, the desert skies remain full of shapes that challenge understanding, proof of either human ingenuity or something else entirely. Time travel, stargates, and exotic science. Some of the most speculative theories go further. Time travel experiments. Whispers suggest Area 51 may experiment with manipulating space-time, using advanced physics or unknown technologies. Stargates or portals. Some believe certain hangars or underground labs may contain gateways to other dimensions or even distant worlds. Element 115 and gravity manipulation. Lazar's claims about a mysterious element capable of warping gravity inspired ideas that Area 51 experiments with bending the laws of physics themselves. Though these ideas lack verifiable evidence, they capture the imagination. They represent humanity's longing to explore not just the desert, but the edges of reality itself. Secret military projects. Some theories are rooted in fact, though still mysterious. Reverse engineering foreign aircraft. Captured Soviet MiGs and other exotic planes may have been tested at Groom Lake. Hypersonic craft and experimental engines. The government has likely tested vehicles capable of extreme speed and altitude. Advanced drones and surveillance systems. Unmanned aerial vehicles, satellites, and experimental technology could explain some sightings previously attributed to aliens. Even here, in grounded science, the desert remains enigmatic. Observers often see things they cannot identify. Test flights, stealth maneuvers, or entirely new technologies. Cultural myths. Area 51 is also a mythical symbol, a story in itself. Movies, TV, and pop culture have transformed the base into a household legend. The X-Files, Independence Day, and countless documentaries shaped our collective imagination. Internet phenomena, from Storm Area 51 to viral memes, made the base a symbol of curiosity, skepticism, and humor. Global fascination. Area 51 has become a magnet for dreamers, conspiracy theorists, and explorers, a touchstone of mystery. In the desert, myth and reality intertwine like shadows under the stars. And so the theories continue. Aliens and spacecraft hidden in hangars. Experimental military aircraft that seem impossible to human eyes. Exotic physics, time manipulation, and hidden dimensions. Pop culture, myth, and global fascination. Area 51 is all of these things at once. It is a place where fact meets fantasy, where the desert whispers its secrets slowly, and where imagination can run as wild as the Nevada wind. Whether human, alien, or something else entirely, the legend endures, a story told under the stars, shared in whispers, and imagined by generations who look up at the sky and wonder. As the night deepens over Groom Lake, the desert remains patient. Lights may flicker in the distance, mountains guard their secrets, and the wind carries whispers of craft, phenomena, and mysteries. Area 51 waits silently, eternal, enigmatic, and endlessly compelling, inviting all who watch to dream and imagine the impossible, the future of Area 51. The desert has seen decades pass. The mountains remain silent, the salt flats glisten faintly under moonlight, and the wind continues to carry whispers across Groom Lake. But as humanity pushes into new frontiers, the future of Area 51 is poised to evolve in ways both extraordinary and enigmatic. Next-generation aircraft. The next decades may bring craft that we cannot yet imagine. Hypersonic bombers and drones, capable of speeds exceeding Mach 10, these aircraft could make today's jets look sluggish. Artificial intelligence pilots. Unmanned, fully autonomous craft could patrol, surveil, or test in ways no human could. Stealth beyond radar. Future designs may render aircraft nearly invisible to every sensor, leaving observers only with fleeting glimmers in the night sky. Each new development adds layers to the legend, as the desert continues to hide what the world is not yet ready to see. Space and the final frontier. Area 51's future may not be limited to Earth's atmosphere. Speculation and reports suggest near-space testing. Vehicles capable of reaching the edge of space for reconnaissance or research. experimental propulsion, possibly using plasma, anti-gravity, or other exotic technologies that push the limits of physics. Private and government collaboration. As companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin push space exploration forward, the desert may play a role in testing vehicles that blur the line between terrestrial and orbital. The skies above Nevada may become a laboratory for the next stage of human exploration. Continuing mysteries. The legends of alien craft, black triangles, and unexplained lights are unlikely to fade. Sightings will continue, fueled by drones, stealth aircraft, and imagination. UFO enthusiasts will still wonder what lies beyond the hangars and fences. Even with government disclosure, secrecy will remain a necessity, keeping curiosity alive. Area 51 may remain the perfect intersection of truth, speculation, and fantasy. A cultural and global icon, beyond the military, Area 51 has become a symbol of human curiosity, a place where questions are more important than answers. A destination for dreamers, pilgrimages, documentaries, and internet culture continue to fuel fascination. A mirror for imagination. What we hope, fear, or wonder about often shapes the stories we tell. The base is no longer just a secret site. It is a canvas on which humanity projects the unknown. Epilogue. Dreams over Groom Lake. Imagine the desert tonight. The moon casts silver light across the salt flats. The mountains stand eternal, quiet, guarding secrets from decades past and centuries yet to come. Above, a craft glides silently, its lights flickering like distant stars. Perhaps it is a drone, a stealth bomber, or a black triangle from legend. Perhaps it is something beyond human understanding. The wind whispers through the sagebrush, carrying stories of U-2s, blackbirds, nighthawks, Lazar's claims, black triangles, and the dreams of countless observers who have gazed at the sky and wondered. Area 51 remains timeless. It is a place where imagination meets reality, where technology and myth intertwine, and where the human desire to know the unknown continues to stretch toward the horizon. So close your eyes, breathe in the cool desert air, and remember, some mysteries are meant to be pondered slowly, like the dance of lights over Groom Lake, fleeting, elusive, and endlessly beautiful. And as the night deepens over Nevada, the stars shimmer, the desert hums softly, and the legend of Area 51 endures, patient, silent, and inviting all who dream to imagine what lies beyond the gates, beneath the mountains, and above the endless desert sky. As always, thank you for watching, and if you've made it this far, you're truly one of the curious ones. Consider subscribing and sharing your own thoughts or theories about Area 51 in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think is really hidden beyond those desert gates. Until next time, keep wondering, keep questioning, and as always, sweet dreams and good night.